Hi everyone! I'm going to be reviewing Divergent by Veronica Roth today. Yay! So, I thought it was a really good book. First off, just before I do anything else, or say anything else, it was really good. I really liked reading it and I don't regret reading it, and I hope everybody reads it and then they just don't continue. I mean, I don't know, I've never read the other books, but I'll get into why I don't think you should read beyond it later. So I'll just put this up here and I'll go into the summary. So basically, the protagonist, she lives in a world that's split up into 5 factions. You'll get to know what they are if you start to read the book. I mean, basically, they're your basic ones. You've got the brave ones. You've got your, you know, like subservient people, and you've got your happy people, and you've got like all the other people. I don't remember the names, don't ask me. Okay. They're just different kinds of people, and people have to fall in line. But then she takes a test. The protagonist, Beatrice? Yeah, Beatrice. She takes a test and she's like found out that she could belong to a lot of different ones. And that's not really a spoiler because you find out really early. But, and plus like the title, it's kind of a big spoiler on its own. Anyway, yeah, so she has to find her place in this world of 5 places, but she doesn't fit into any one of them. So we can see how that could turn out. Yeah. That's it for the summary. I want to go into some pros, some cons, and some concepts, because I don't think they were necessarily pros or cons, but they were really cool pieces of thought that I got from this book that I thought I would share with you, and maybe you think about Divergent in a different way. Maybe not. That's okay. All right, let's get to it. So I've got three pros for this book. The first one was that it was a really quick read. I mean, like, who doesn't love a book that they can finish in a week? That's probably how long it took me to finish. This book was about a week, I think. Yeah, it was really cool. It was really nice, easy to read, very fast. That's all you need to know about that. The pro number 2 is that the action was actually really good. The action was not just senseless action just because of action's sake. It was really well ramped up, and I actually understood what was going on in the scene. I don't want to give any examples because like then I'll take away the tension from the scenes for you, but like it was really exciting, and you knew exactly what the stakes were. You knew exactly what would happen if they failed in this action sequence, and it was really nice and refreshing to see this action happening. Plus there's a lot of it. Like, this is a very plot-driven book, and I really liked it for that. So that's what made it such a quick read too, was that it's plot-driven and had really good action in it. Pro number 3 was that there were nice identity reveals in this book. So of course, who doesn't love a little identity switch in the middle of their book or something like that? Like, it's so exciting when someone's actually someone that they're not, or when they're portraying something that doesn't really reflect themselves. I don't know. Anyway, there are a few of identity reveals in here that are exciting and that make the reading once again go faster. And I guess number 4. There are 4 pros, sorry. Number 4 would be like the romance part. I really liked that. It was a nice aspect of it, and that was actually a part that I liked a lot and helped me read faster, which made it also a quick read. So I guess quick read is a pro, but it's also like all these elements built up to it being a quick read. Like, the action was really good, the identity reveals were really good, and then there were also the romance elements in it. So yeah, that's it for the pros. As for the cons, I only found one con, and that was kind of the structure of the whole story. It kind of felt like it was only part of the story, and it needed to move on, but once it moved on, it was very fast at the end. So, I mean, it's basically a big initiation montage, which, I mean, it was okay. It was alright, but I don't know, just training and things that, like, that all feels like part of a story. It doesn't feel like the whole story. So, if that makes any sense. Like, it just felt like we were kind of treading water in the same place in the story, so it didn't feel like we were going anywhere. But at the same time, we were doing things. So, I don't know. Like, it just the whole point that it was just training. that was just the one con. That was it. I mean, all the other stuff was great. It really held it up. Now, let's talk about a couple concepts that I wanted to talk about this story, regarding this story. And that is that it's really interesting that this is a trilogy. I don't think that this should be longer than just this book. This is the story. This is why lots of people love the first book. It's because this is the story. The world is split up into 5 factions that's challenged in the story, and that's it. Like, that's the plot. Anything after that is just everyone following suit, or just the political fallout of all that stuff. You know, like figuring out, now we've tackled this system, who's going to rule now? And it's like, well, that's not, I don't know, that's not really what these readers came to read. You know, like, this book is very plot driven. It's not very political intrigue driven. It's just very, like, mystery and secrets driven. To stretch the story out would lose the readers that liked this initially. And it wouldn't attract the readers that really want to read political intrigue or everyone following suit. Or, I mean, I'm sure that there's more that she put into the other books, but I just don't see how any other conflict could reach the real problem of this story like this first book. That's the whole crux of the premise. You know, anything after that is just going to be a stretched out, elongated version. I mean, if you really like the characters, then that's great, but for me, I liked the plot-driven aspect, and I liked the action. Of course, you might have some great action in the other ones, that's true, but, like, I don't think I'm going to move on. Just because I've heard it's bad, I'm not going to move on. Plus, I think the story lives here. The story is right here in this book. Actually, it reminds me of Ender's Game a lot. Like, a lot. I really liked Ender's Game when I was younger. And I know that Scott Card has got, like, a sketchy reputation. I hate that. That sucks. But I still love the books. I mean, like, I devoured them when I was younger. So, like, I don't know. But anyway, this is kind of like, this really reminded me of Ender's Game. Ender's Game was basically the same thing as this, except for they had a little bit different ending. But yeah, there's a reason why the sequel to Ender's Game is billions, like however many years after all the events of Ender's Game took place. Like, Speaker of the Dead is when Ender's like a full-grown person and he's taken on some really different conflicts, really different problems than he did in Ender's Game. But yeah, I still found those exciting, but they were different books. To have the events of this one followed so closely, I don't think that was probably good for the story. But a good concept number 2 that I found was that this actually is like a big reflection of what the world looks like to an adolescent. So I'm a few years older than my adolescent years. Just a few, it's fine. I haven't hit any big numbers lately or anything. But it really reminded me of how I saw people back when I was 16, 17 years old. You know, like, I think at that point you're still trying to figure out what's going on in the world, and so you put people into these kind of boxes. And I know that like that's, people don't like to be put in boxes, okay, but it helps people to understand what's going on. And I think with the way that Beatrice progresses and her thoughts in this book also show a growth and maturity as well. You know, like she finds that she's not part of just one group, and she finds that other people may not be part of just one group, and so she begins to see how other people are not actually only this one faction or only this other faction. She's actually able to understand that other people are multifaceted. Look at all of us. We're all multifaceted human beings. It's great. But I just really thought it was a really good point. That was like, it kind of acted like, is it allegory? It's been a while. I've taken literature classes, but it's been a while. Anyway, so allegory for an adolescent's perspective on the world is that like, okay, there's these kinds of people. Who am I going to be? And actually there is a lot of pressure put on adolescents when they're younger to figure out who they're going to be. So of course they're going to be focused on like these types of people. And so even mixing these types of people doesn't probably even cross their minds, just because they're trying to also figure out how to negotiate school, how to negotiate first jobs, how to negotiate like everything in their lives. You know, family relationships. They need to figure out what their place is in the world, and other people are just so complex that it's just a little bit easier to think of them as these kind of concrete things for the moment, for the time. Another thing that I liked was the kind of separation from parents that we get, since adolescents always kind of grow apart from their parents, and they always, not always, you know, like there are kids that stick with their parents, which is just fine. Once again, multifaceted. But like, this is also where they start questioning how close do they want to be with their parents? How in line do they want to be with their parents' beliefs and values? This is a great time for them to experiment and to, at least with thoughts. It's a great time for adolescents to become a little bit more independent in their thinking, at least. And I thought that was a really nice little piece to this. So basically she reflects the adolescent mind with the 5 factions that a lot of kids, like, they have to see people in while they figure other things out. And then she also demonstrates a lot of understanding about the separation that adolescents go through from their parents. And I thought that was really great. I mean, like, those are huge, huge life changes that don't even have physical consequences, but they have mental consequences that lead into physical consequences. I mean, it's amazing. Anyway, I really like this book. I hope that you liked my chat, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!